the microorganism yeast is used, what the yeast does is that it ferments the sugar in the flour, and hence to make it producing carbon dioxide in the process, and this causes the dough to rise, and it makes the bread fluffy and soft when it is baked.
2. Again, the reason why I'm not giving you 4 points is your insistence that it must be microorganisms. I have seen some biotechnology using large animals. Anyway, so biotechnology is technology that utilizes biological systems, living organisms, or their parts to develop or create different products.
Rusting occurs when iron undergoes oxidation, that is, it reacts with oxygen in the presence of moisture to form a hydrated iron oxide. And the reason why, and when rusting is formed, the iron oxide layer is peeled off, which exposes more of the pure iron to the moisture and oxygen, and then keeps on forming this hydrated iron oxide, which causes a color change, that's a brown color change of the iron, and keeps on peeling away the surface of the iron to reduce the mass of the iron present and the strength of the material that the iron is used to make.
2. Yes, you gave a good explanation of rusting, but it is the last part why it weakens or damages structures, which was a little deficient. So when you have the formation of iron oxide, it leads to volume expansion and brittleness that may lead to loss of structural integrity. Right. Okay. Keta High Technical School. Explain why stainless steel does not rust. Yes, Perpetual.
Stainless steel is an alloy of iron, chromium, and carbon. And the chromium in it. So the chromium in it is the one that protects the iron components of the stainless steel, as such preventing the oxidation of the iron to form Fe2+, which would react with the oxygen in the presence of moisture to form rust. So the presence of the chromium present in stainless steel protects the iron components of the stainless steel from oxidation by oxygen in the presence of moisture, thus preventing its rusting. As stainless steel does not rust.
I'll give you 2. Yes, you are very right. It's because of the chromium that is present in the alloy. Now, you see, even the iron will form an oxide. So what is important about the oxide that is formed, the Cr2O3 that is formed with chromium, is that it is adherent, it stays on the surface and continues to protect it even when you have adverse environmental conditions. So it has to be adherent and stable on the surface to be able to perform that protective function. I hope that's clear. All right, good. Mfantsipim School. Explain how galvanization protects iron or steel. Yes, Isaac?
Okay, so galvanization protects iron or steel. Iron or steel by using a more reactive metal to coat the surface of the iron or steel. So when this is done, the more reactive metal forms an oxide which is on the surface of the iron or the steel, and hence it prevents the iron from forming an oxide, that is rust, iron 3 oxide, that is rust. So the The metal forms a protective layer, thus sacrificing itself and forming the protective layer, which to prevent the moisture and oxygen from accessing the iron and oxidizing it.
2. Okay, so what exactly is galvanization? The protective layer is zinc, right? So it is specific zinc which is used as a coating, and zinc will act as a stable, adherent protective barrier, you mentioned that, and it is also a sacrificial protector because it is more reactive than iron, right? So it has to be a zinc. You didn't mention zinc at all. All right. Next 30 seconds with a preamble to all schools. Preamble. In a certain laboratory, the relative uncertainty in length measurements is 0.200%, and the relative uncertainty in density measurements is 0.500%. Find the mass together with its uncertainty of an object with the given properties as determined by the laboratory. One more time. In a certain laboratory, the relative uncertainty in length measurements is 0.200%, and the relative uncertainty in density measurements is 0.500%. Find the mass together with its uncertainty of an object with the given properties as determined by the laboratory. All right, so St. Augustine's College, a uniform solid cube whose side is determined to be 8.00 centimeters and whose density is found to be 3.50 times 10 raised to the power 3 kilogram per meter cubed. Yes, upon.
The mass is 1.79 kilograms, and the uncertainty in it in the mass is 1.100%.
2 out of 3. I'll come back and tell you why. Keta with the same preamble. A uniform solid sphere whose radius is determined to be 4.00 centimeter and whose density is found to be 2.50 times 10 raised to the power 3 kilogram per meter cubed. Yes, perpetual.
The mass of the sphere is equal to the mass of the sphere is equal to 6.70 by 10 to the power -1 kilograms, and the uncertainty in it is and the relative uncertainty in it is 1.30%. 2.
With the same preamble, a uniform solid cylinder whose radius and height are both determined to be 6.00 centimeters and whose density is found to be 4.00 times 10 raised to the power 3 kilogram per meter cubed. Yes, Isaac.
So the mass is given as 2.74 kilograms, and then the relative uncertainty to be 1.10%.
That's incorrect for bonus. All right. It appears you have trouble with uncertainties. Your answer was 1.79 plus or minus 0.02 kilogram. Okay? Keta, your answer was 0.670 plus or minus 0.007 kilogram. Okay, you had the value right, the uncertainty, I didn't ask you for percentage uncertainty. All right, and then for you in Mfantsipim school, 2.71, not 4, 2.71 plus or minus 0.03 kilogram. All right, next set, 10 seconds. St. Augustine's College. The thylakoid of a particular plant cell was damaged to the extent that the interior of the thylakoid was no longer separated from the stroma. Mention the process in which the damage will have the most direct effect. Which of you? Yes, upon.
So the process is the production of ATP by using the ATP synthase, and this is because there will be no difference in concentration of the H plus ions across the membranes, since the membranes is not present anymore.
What is the process?
ATP production.
Exactly. I told you about simple and direct answers, right? Okay, Keta. A plant physiologist provided the plant with a radioactive carbon, that is carbon-14 dioxide, as a metabolic tracer to study photosynthesis performed during the day. What is the best characterization of this plant if the carbon-14 is incorporated first into oxaloacetic acid? Perpetual.
It is a calm plant, that is, it undergoes crassulacean acid metabolism.
That's incorrect. Yes, Alexander.
It's a C4, like it undergoes a C4 pathway.
Yes. Mfantsipim School. Mfantsipim School. Why is it thought that both chloroplasts and mitochondria descended from free-living cyanobacteria? Yes, David.
Okay, so chloroplasts and mitochondria are thought to descend from free-living bacteria. This is because of the presence of DNA in them. That is, they have their own DNA, which is separate, their own nuclear material, which is, and they are also able to divide on their own. And because of this, they are thought to have because of the presence of the nuclear material in them, which is different from the nuclear material in the nucleus. And so they are thought to have been.
When you finish, tell me.
They are thought to have been evolved from.
Yes, they have their own DNA. That's all. My goodness. Next 30 seconds with a preamble to all schools. Preamble. Find the completely factorized equation of a cubic curve with. Did you get it? Did you get it? Find the completely factorized equation of a cubic curve with. All right. St. Augustine's College, x-intercepts -1, 1, and 3, and y-intercept 12. Alexander.
Y is equal to 4, multiplying the first bracket. In that bracket, x plus 1. And this is also multiplying the second bracket, which, like in that bracket, x minus 1. Multiplying the third bracket. In that bracket, x minus 3.
You're right. Keta. With the same preamble, x-intercepts -2, 2, and 5, and y-intercepts -20. Yes, Frederick.
Y is equal to the expression x plus 2. That expression multiplying x minus 2. That expression multiplying x minus 5. That expression multiplying negative 1.
All right. In Mfantsipim school with the same preamble, x intersects -3, -1, and 2, and y intercepts -12. Isaac?
Y is equal to 2, multiplying an expression in brackets, x plus 3, multiplying another expression in brackets, x plus 1, multiplying another expression in brackets, x minus 2.
You're right. All right, so for this next set, it's actually one of those questions that is common to all of you. When I get to you, please give me a right answer so that I can move on for the next right answer, different from what has been said. So same question to all of you, no bonus. All right? Okay, so please pay attention to this question. I won't repeat it. Plastic pollution has become one of the most pressing environmental challenges worldwide. The United Nations Environment Program estimates that every day the equivalent of 2,000 garbage trucks full of plastic are dumped into the world's oceans, rivers, and lakes, causing significant harm to aquatic life, humans, and the environment. These challenges are largely because most plastics are environmentally stable and hardly degrade. Please, when I get to you, give and explain only one major reason why plastics are environmentally stable. All right, so first choice, St. Augustine's College. Alexander.
Plastics are environmentally stable, and this can be due to the hardening of the plastic, that by vulcanization. And when these plastics are vulcanized, they tend to become stiffer and stronger, and hence they are able to resist degradation by microbes or microorganisms which may act on them. So it's due to them being hardened by vulcanization.
That's incorrect. I'm moving on. Keta, next choice. Yes, Perpetual.
Plastics do not contain bioorganic material. That is materials that decomposers can act on in the plastics to break them down. So they are usually long chain polymers. They are usually polymers of small molecular weight substances which microorganisms or decomposers cannot interact with to break them down into smaller pieces. As such, they are environmentally stable.
I'm not accepting it. Mfantsipim school. Yes, I did.
Okay, so plastics are polymerized organic compounds, and so within the structure of a plastic, there exists an extensive network of covalent bonds which holds the units of the plastics together. And so due to this extensive network of strong bonds which holds the units together, the microorganisms in the the soil and water bodies and the environment are not able to decompose them and break them down, and hence this makes plastic more environmentally stable.
Okay, I'll give you. All right, so let me share some of the answers with you. Let me share the answers with you so that you know why I didn't accept yours. Okay? All right. Yes. By the way, this is a chemistry question, right? So I was expecting some good chemistry content. So first one is that if you look at the backbone structure of these plastics, they have strong covalent or carbon-carbon sigma bonds, which are difficult to break. That's the one you gave me, right? So the backbone structure, carbon-carbon bonds, very strong, difficult to break. Okay, then they have non-polar and hydrophobic bonds that make them resistant to microbial degradation, which usually takes place in aqueous media. So if you wanted to give me an answer about the microbial degradation, I expected you to include the hydrophobicity or the polarities structures, which makes it difficult, right, for microorganisms in aqueous media to attack. Okay. There's also the absence of functional groups that are susceptible to enzymatic attack by microorganisms. So even the functional groups that are present, you have single carbon-carbon or single bonds, this is not susceptible to degradation, right? So you need to have some functional groups that will help you to degrade, and we don't have them. Next thing is they also have high UV stability, so they hardly absorb any UV to help break them. So that can also be a problem. And then there's a lack of readily available natural enzymes capable of breaking down the polymer chains of many plastics. So you see, these are the reasons. By the way, why is this important to know? It's very important to know because once you know the problem, when you understand the problem, that is when you can start coming up with interventions, right? So if you're an engineer that wants to come up with a product that is degradable, you take one of these reasons and you target your solution along these. So at this stage, when you understand these things and you know why the problem exists, it makes it easier for you to come up with solutions to the problem. I hope that's clear. Yes. Next time I ask this, everybody will know what to do. All right, next set 30 seconds with a preamble to all schools. Preamble. So-called peak uranium raises energy security concerns, and efforts are underway for realizing sustainable uranium extraction well into the future. One such effort centers on seawater, which is known to contain 3 milligrams of uranium per cubic meter. Please, did you get your preamble? One more time. All right. So-called peak uranium raises energy security concerns, and efforts are underway for realizing sustainable uranium extraction well into the future. One such effort centers on seawater, which is known to contain 3 milligrams of uranium per cubic meter. All right, so now, St. Augustine's Akosombo Dam contains approximately 8 times 10 raised to the power 6 meter cubed of water. Approximately how much uranium is contained in that much seawater? Yes, upon.
So the amount of uranium is 2 by 10 raised to an exponent of 4 grams.
You are right. With the same preamble, Keta, the energy density of uranium is approximately 7 times 10 raised to the power 5 megajoule per kilogram. What does this figure suggest for the potential nuclear energy that can be extracted from a household water reservoir filled with seawater? Assume a reservoir volume of 10,000 liters. Yes, Frederick.
It means that in 10,000 liters of seawater, the potential nuclear energy of the uranium atoms will be 7 times 10 raised to an exponent of 10 joules.
That's incorrect. Yes, Isaac.
10 raised to the 2 times 10 raised to the power 10 joules.
That's incorrect. The right answer is 20 megajoule, 2 times 10 to the power 7 joules. All right, now your major question with the same preamble. Approximately how long can the uranium from the 10,000 liter seawater tank serve the energy needs of a typical household, assuming a daily energy consumption of 30 kilowatts hour? Did they make it? No, for a bonus. The right answer is 0.2 days. 0.2 days. All right. By the way, did you know that you can get uranium from seawater? Well, now you've learned something, right? You can't get uranium from seawater. However, it's these kinds of calculations that will be necessary in order to figure out whether it's even worth the trouble of going after it. Because you now have to figure out how much you will spend to get it and how much you get. You see that it's not large quantities. For a very large volume of seawater, you only get a few kilograms. So, interesting information to have, and our young people are learning how to do those calculations. Maybe they'll give us advice what to do. All right, next set, 10 seconds. Please, straight to the point. Why does the respiratory system need the cardiovascular system to help it perform its mission of gaseous exchange? Yes, Alexander.
The respiratory system needs the cardiovascular system, and the reason is due to pressure difference. That is, for gaseous exchange to occur, there must be a difference in pressure between the outer atmosphere and the internal system of the human lungs, or the human body. And the pressure difference is generated by the blood, which flows around the alveoli of the lungs. So this generates a change in pressure between the blood and then the air in the lungs of the human, and it's causing the gaseous exchange to occur due to the transfer of gases across the alveoli of the lungs.
That's incorrect. For a bonus. Yes, so the respiratory system exchanges gases with the outside air, but it needs the cardiovascular system to carry the gases to and from cells throughout the body. So the transportation to all parts of the body is the work of the cardiovascular system, right? So it's not the pressure difference. All right, Keta, the nose and the mouth provide two ways to breathe. Why is nasal breathing generally considered superior to mouth breathing, even though both lead to the throat, which carries oxygen into your lungs? Yes, Perpetual.
Nasal breathing is considered superior because the nose is lined with cilia and mucus, which helps to trap microorganisms and dust present in the air inhaled. As such, there's a greater purity of air that is passing through the respiratory tract to the lungs when there's nasal breathing, unlike in the mouth, which lacks the cilia and mucosal lining to trap dust particles and microorganisms that may be present in the air. As such, the air concentration that passes through the mouth to the alveoli is weak, is less, and that is, it is contaminated. So the air concentration is less. So that's why it is considered inferior, and the nasal breathing is considered superior.
1. Okay, this was the answer that I was expecting. Nose breathing filters out foreign particles, that one you mentioned. Humidifies and warms the air, you didn't mention that. And it enters the body and provides more oxygen. 3 parts to the thing. I only had 1 part. That's why I gave you 1 out of 3. All right, Mfantsipim School. If the concentration of oxygen were higher inside of a cell than outside of it, which way would the oxygen flow? Please, I need an explanation. Yes, Isaac?
So the oxygen will flow to the side where there is less pressure. That is, it will flow out of the cell into the extracellular space. So this is due to the fact that when the oxygen is inside the cell, the pressure is higher. That's the oxygen pressure in the cell is higher. And so in order to restore balance, some of the oxygen will move out of the cell to the extracellular space.
Okay, 2. Okay, yes, the oxygen would flow out of the cell because gases diffuse from an area of high concentration. So it's a concentration. I'm dealing with concentrations. Higher concentration to an area of lower concentration when you have a cell membrane. So diffusion across the cell membrane from an area of higher concentration to an area of lower concentration. That's the reason. Okay. Next set 30 seconds with a preamble to all schools. Preamble. Find the solution for x and y from the given pair of equations such that 0 less than x less than pi over 3, 0 less than y less than pi over 3, and y less than x, and you may assume radian measure. Please, did you get your preamble? You did. One more time. Okay. Find the solution for x and y from the given pair of equations such that 0 less than x less than pi over 3, 0 less than y less than pi over 3, and y less than x. And you may assume radian measure. All right, so St. Augustine's sign of the expression x plus y is equal to square root of 3 over 2. And cosine of the expression x minus y is equal to 1 over square root of 2. Yes, upon.
To the set of values of x and y such that x is equal to 7 pi over 24 radians, or y is equal to a fraction with a numerator of pi and a denominator of 24 in radians.
Yes. Keta with the same preamble. Tangent of the expression x plus y is equal to 1. And cosine of the expression x minus y is equal to square root of 3 over 2. Yes, Frederick.
Have x to be equal to 5 pi on 24 in radians, and y is equal to pi on 24 also in radians.
Yes. With the same preamble, cosine of the expression x plus y is equal to half, and tangent of the expression x minus y is equal to 1 over the square root of 3. Yes, Isaac.
So X is equal to pi over 4 radians, and Y is equal to pi over 12 radians.
You're right. St. Augustine's 30 seconds for the set. So St. Augustine's, a food irradiation facility uses cobalt-60 source, which has a half-life of 5.27 years. The facility requires a minimum activity of 62.5 megabecquerel for irradiation. If a fresh batch of cobalt-60 has activity of 8.00 gigabecquerel, how long will it take for the factory to have to replace the batch? Yes, Opon.
So it is 36.9 years.
You're right. With Keta, in a diagnostic scan at a facility in Cape Coast, a patient is injected with sodium-24, a radioisotope of half-life 15 hours. If the initial activity of the isotope is 51.2 megabecquerel,